Hey, this is Charles Sidmore III, Senator for District 44 here in Baltimore County, and I'm back with another Monday moment in Black history. Today, we're taking a closer look at Route 40, which could be described as a major spot in America's civil rights struggle, a story that runs directly through Catonsville. Before I-95 opened, Route 40 was the main corridor between New York and Washington, D.C. In the summer of 1961, racism along this street gained international attention when African diplomats from newly independent nations like Chad, Niger, Togo, and Cameroon were denied service at restaurants along Route 40. Formal protests reached President John F. Kennedy's desk, placing Maryland in a global spotlight during the Cold War. Imagine the contradiction. American promoting democracy abroad, while black visitors and us black Americans are being told that we could not sit down and eat. But black Americans saw the moment clearly, and that's when the community responded. Hundreds of riders traveling in private cars stopped at segregated establishments along Route 40, including Catonsville's Varsity Drive-In and the Double T Diner, to conduct peaceful sit-ins. Black and white activists sat together at counters and tables, challenging discriminatory service. Instead of being served, many were confronted by police, hostile onlookers, and restaurant staff who read Maryland's trespass statute to force them to leave. But here's what many people don't know. The situation along Route 40 had become so embarrassing internationally that Kennedy's administration stepped in. In September of that year, a telegram went out to roughly 200 Maryland civic leaders calling for what was described as voluntary cooperation to end segregation in restaurants and public accommodations along Route 40. The State Department were worried about optics, not justice. Officials feared these incidents were damaging America's relationships with newly independent African nations. Led by the Baltimore chapter of Congress for Racial Equality, CORE, and its chair, Walter P. Carter, clergy, community leaders, and other activists, they pushed back against the idea that restaurants might serve foreign diplomats while still discriminating against American-born black citizens. The message was simple: equality cannot be selective. And the pressure worked. Facing mounting protests, national scrutiny, and the threat of mass freedom rides, at least 35 restaurants began to quietly drop their segregationist policies. But Carter proclaimed that they would keep up the protests, maintaining the pressure with smaller, unannounced sit-ins. The civil disobedience helped Maryland to pass an imperfect public accommodations law in 1963, making it the first state south of the Mason-Dixon line to ban racial discrimination in restaurants and hotels, paving the way for the Civil Rights Act of 1964. District 44 is a part of this history. It reminds us that the road to justice often runs through local communities like Catonsville. And that progress usually comes because ordinary people refuse to accept an unjust status quo. And that's why this history still matters.